Hello everybody, and welcome to the stream. I'm playing a game called Regal Tales. Hello everyone, I'm currently live streaming a game called Regal Tales. I found this on itch.io and I thought it would be interesting to play for you all. Hope you enjoy this. Now, from what I understand, the basis of this game is that you play as a mother who lost her family to war. I have to give a fair warning there. I don't know where, but apparently in the game somewhere there are NSFW scenes. I'm hoping it's nothing bad, like where YouTube can attack me for it, honestly, because this game is truly beautiful in its artwork. So, I guess most people won't be watching it right now, but let's just go ahead. Oh, this is an early demo. Wow. Oh, wow. That's really cool. They actually have the artists and the games in there in this. It's okay. I'm here. My child, you have a big day today, being the birthday boy and all. ... You have a lot of fight for a boy your age. There. You can rest, my boy. The party will wait just for you. Sigh. You're still too young to understand, but I feel you should know the face of your mother on this day. Ah, what a beautiful day. See down there, my son? That's all there for you. I can't remember that time I heard so much laughter and cheer like today. What a blessed day indeed. Now, okay, before I go any further on this, I have to say, I love this fucking view. It's just so beautifully done. With it looks like an oil pastel painting, honestly. Statue. A large golden lioness statue oversees the city. View from the garden. Her right leg is arched up with her long arm resting on it. Her left leg is stretched out with her tail and arm resting beside it. Look, Naja, it's your son's birthday. Already a year old. Yeah, here's your mother, my boy. So great and powerful she was. She'd never let you go with the monstrous grip of hers. You're probably too young to understand it all, but it only feels right to tell you who your mother was. What she was to all the people she inspired in the past. Her loving memory is only a gift she can give you today, my son. If only fate hadn't been so cruel. I wish it didn't take a war for us to find each other, but it did. And she nearly killed me when we first met, if you can believe it. That war of ours. Okay, so apparently it's the dad telling the story. Before your mother helped bring an end to the war, this world was nothing more than but a slaughterhouse, fueled for both riches and for power. In the days before, each neighboring nation was at rope ends with each other, with one another, favoring their kin over others. It was though through a strict trade route we were kept in check until that bloody day. The very mountains divided our lands, spewed fire from their peaks. All routes we all depended on were lost up in smoke. The lands around them shattered like glass, tore apart everything we had built. Panic took hold of everyone's minds, both king and commoner alike. It didn't take long for riots to break out, for leaders to lash out to one another, and it deemed their coming actions right. Kingdoms and dynasties banded together once the lines were drawn. Whether forged or unforced, everyone was desperate for an ally during those troubling times. Your mother, before the cataclysm shook our world, was a legend amongst her people. The Shaskarans, infamous for their barbaric leaps of strength in battle, found comfort in great power and might in their chieftains. From what I've gathered, your mother was even considered a goddess in some in her tribe for sheer power alone. This mother character sounds like it's going to be a badass to play. Even before the Great War, your mother united all the clans in her homeland in one big tribe, either by negotiating or aggressively negotiating. She never put herself before people. She'd always fought for them, or alongside them if the call were ever made. If only the rest of the world thought like her. If only she surrounded herself with allies that would do the same for her. Why does she sound like me, always making themselves lonely? Ooh, who's this young man? Who's this king dude? The war room roared with thunderous applause and laughter. In the center of it all stood 4 deviant figures toasting one another. King Redgord. A tremendous feat for our dear Baron Hawkrum. Not only did he preserve our encampment, but also wiped out the entire deviant regime. Ha ha ha. An elegant weasel queen danced her fingers around the war map and knocked over every pawn she came across, and she giggled with glee. Queen Nastia. Wow, there are some stark differences in the art styles, and you can really tell, like, different people drew these. The southwest is exposed now. It'll be easy pickings for the taking of the riverfront from the Imperials. Everyone in attendance took pride in the latest victory with song and cheer. Failing to notice the commotion outside their halls, the Weasel Queen herself was too amused with her knocking over pawns to care. As pieces flung off the table, the bony-fingered hand glittered with jeweled rings caught a piece crafted as a lioness head. The elderly rostered Baron Hawkrum dropped the piece in amusement. He's a chicken. Okay. And I think it only costs a few hundred Shaskaran tribesmen to take out 5,000 Imperials. Ha ha. Ha. Hawkrum sipped from his goblet, unaware of the silence that filled the room. The silence broke as Redgord dropped his goblet in shock. What? The rustling outside became more noticeable. An iguana bathed in religious garbs shuddered out in the revolution. Bishop crooned. He actually looks like somebody took a picture of an iguana and pasted it onto his face. You made no mention you used chakarans as the bait in your report. The queen draped her head over the map with terror in her eyes. Weren't the southern chakaran led troops led by Juko? Dread filled the room as everyone stared at each other. Shit. I didn't expect to have curse words! But it's even more funny now because you don't mind cussing. The cold dead silence of the room instantly broke from the sound of. Oh, I get a choice. Damn. Naja. Ooh, she's pretty. Hawk run! I like that. The iron doors that sealed the war room gave way to a loud, thunderous thud coming from the other side. The door was guarded by 2 rhino knights clad in black iron armor. They both jolted at the power that was bashed up against the door, causing one's helmet to come undone. Hawkrum slowly rose to his chair, but his eyes are glued to the door, flinching at the roars of his name. Hawkrum! The iron door flew off the hinges, knocking both guards on their feet. A towering figure blurred in rage, hunched over itself through the doorway. Before storming in, Naja, a 7.5-foot lioness, clad in thick leather armor and bandages, scanned the room, looking for her prey. She's fucking taller than me! She's taller than me! Holy shit, she's scary. She be a badass. Okay, Naja. Yeah, you go, girl. Each at the table took a step away from the Rooster Baron. Yeah, I think that would be smart, because this girl's about to rip his head off, I'm betting. Well, at least if I get the chance to do that, I'm gonna. The barbaric rage on Nadja's face quickly snapped into a psychotic grin upon seeing Horcrumb. She paced toward him. Ah, Horcrumb, what a surprise, and here I was starting to think you weren't here. Her words held venom to them, while she prowled towards the retreating rooster. She drank in its fear, while stalking him around the table. So imagine my surprise to find you here, weaseling around like the little shitstain you are. Hey! Nadja snarled out and glared daggers at the queen, burying her fangs with malice. Nastia gulped back her pride and kept her distance. Never mind. Nadja bared her salivating fangs at Nastia. Her monstrous glare left the weasel queen trembling to her knees. A cluster of chairs suddenly knocked around snaps Nadja away from the queen and back to the baron. Horcrumb pushed every chair he could find in front of him in a desperate bid to slow down his stalking predator. No, Nadja, listen. The army was at our front door. We need to strike before they could. Ah! Horcrumb ducked out of the way as Nadja hurled one of the chairs across the table, solid wood smashing into the wall, exploding into twigs. Your boy, Juka, would have died either... Oh... Her son got killed in this mess. It's a sad truth to know even he can be a casualty of war. Nadja climbed onto the table, sinking her talons in the map with each step she took. Hunched over, ready to pounce, she lined her prey up. They knew what they were getting into, warning them of what was to be expected. They died like heroes. Horcrumb's back was pinned to the corner of the room. Nadja bared her fangs and stared him down, wringing him by the neck with ease. She single-handedly lifts the poor baron up against the wall. What heroes die in a landslide? A landslide that you made! Nadja gripped Horcrumb's neck tightly before she slammed him onto the table. You fucking used them! Okay, I love this woman already. She's fucking awesome. She began to struggle with her words as her rage overtook her. She squeezed Horcrumb's neck to the point his eyes bulged out. She slammed his head onto the table again, directed his gaze on the map to a canyon outline. We can't even recover their bodies after the mess your men made. Nadja's eyes wandered at the map, and she noticed how close the regiments were to the battlefield. Her gaze shot across the room, eyeing everyone in it. Keeping her left palm around Horcrumb's neck, Nadja slammed her fist onto the table in spite, knocking Horcrumb's wine over the map. You had regiments stationed so close. You could have aided at a moment's notice. Her eyes glazed over with anger. She tears as she leans, baring her fangs at the trembling baron. You took my clan, my brothers, my sisters, my own son, and you have the balls to get drunk off your ass after what you lot did to them? There's a bear! General Karn. That's enough. A bear clawed snarled around Nadja's shoulder and forced its strength to pull her around. General Karam, a stocky grizzly bear, clad in silver armor plating, snarled at the lioness. However, a grim reminder sank into his face as Nadja snapped around. She glared down at eye level, remembering just how tall and strong she was, as she towered to her full height. She had a full foot over him, growling intensely. She's 7 foot.
She's a foot.
Nadja, listen, I know you're angry. This bear dude is about ready to get killed. Nadja snarled, putting emphasis on his words by tightening her grip around Horcrumb's neck, causing him to squeak in pain. But this alliance needs him. You need him. He's been the one that has been keeping our trades sponsored and your clan fed. He's been giving you the resources your people have been desperately needing since the war began. Hundreds of hungry mouths showed the cost of snapping the baron's neck. Would you doom your clan to starvation in your rage? Nadja slowly settled her, snarling. As the bear sensed her grip loosened. No, I wanted to kill this fucker! Juko died with honor like his father. He sacrificed himself for greater good. Nadja swiftly backhanded Karam's muzzle, causing him to stagger. She let go of Horcrumb, leaning down, eye level with the general. Don't you dare speak of honor to me. Juko's father and his men were the first casualties of since this damn war began. Naja grabs Carmen by the scruff of his armored collar. Holy shit, I'm gonna get to go toe-to-toe with a bear. Or did you forget who it was that protected your ass when you retreated with your king? The bear grips a hold of the lioness waist, try to pry it off of him. No, I didn't. That's why I made precautions around our territories. A distant battle cry echoed the corridor. The raging sons of elephants roaring began to draw closer. Naja's lips curled in distasteful snarl at the sound of the roar. Spite and dread sunk deep into her eyes. And if you wish to keep your territory safe, your people said you'd best watch your tongue. Both lioness and bear growled intensely toward one another. Naja swatted the grip from her away from her wrist. Karim glared up. You think the wars can be won with honor and brute strength alone? When you are living in a fool's dream, wake up. We all lost something here, not just you. The general leans in to match her heavy gaze. If the opportunity presents itself, good soldiers must be ready to accept the risk that war brings. The general's words were choked out of him as Naja single-handedly hoisted him up into the air by the scruff of his collar. She brought him to her eye level, not his. Growling. And bury them alive is part of the deal? Did they know they were given warning to this risk? Karim's glaring eyes broke away from Naja, unable to talk themselves out of the situation at hand. She would not suffer fools as the bear. She tossed the general against the wall like a rag doll. Karim braced himself against the stone as he gained his footing. Naja turned, staring past the blood-stained cast-iron doors into the darkness beyond. You fucking high lords might treat your men differently, but in my clan, my family, not some pawns to be discarded. She began to march out, not proud but long-suffering, proud shoulders tired from the emotional weight of it all. Spraying spittle to the floor, the general barked after her. Naja, where do you think you're going? We're not finished here. To the vanguard, with my men. Unlike your whelps, I do not intend to sit on my ass as this war goes on. Naja mumbled under her breath as she snatched the iron door impromptu weapon. Its perch atop the rhino guard as she had previously knocked down. Don't let the door hit you on my way out. Horkrum choked and wheezed on the table as he staggered toward the general, whilst Naja tended to the broken door. General, I don't care who she is. I want that savage horde punished. Wait, what did she say? And that as an iron door slammed into the frail rooster and knocked him once again against the table. The group surrounded the table, looked to Horkrum before shooting their attention to Naja. The lioness returned to their shocked gaze with an expression of mock concern, shrugging. What? I gave him a warning, didn't I? She did warn him not to let the door hit them on her way out. She did warn them that the door could hit them on her way out, so totally it's fair. Naja stormed off, leaving the war room in a state of damage and dread. Passing through the blood-red doorway, Naja stewed in her anger. Every room she passed only served to bring the rage closer to the surface. Naja thrashed her way through the onlooking guards, making her way from the central building. Her brooding composure left a sense of fear in her wake, each soldier scrambling from death-bringing gaze. Several guards Naja encountered on the way in now wore sizable dents in their armor prior to her outburst. Bruises would mark them for days. Understandably, they fled for their lives. Naja reached for the main gate to the fortress. She glared up at the defense tower that operated the gate. After a brief moment, the impatient lioness roared to the top of her lungs. Open! The men in the tower jolted in fear before opening the gate wheel. Operating the gate wheel. The massive iron gate rocked open, greeting Naja to the setting of a red sun and the familiar faces of her clan parked outside. A large gathering of barbaric animals, tigers, gorillas, vipers, vultures, etc., greeted Naja with eyes eager for their next order. Zuda, a battle-torn elderly wolf with scars across his face, stood next to Naja's primitive horse. He looked to her with great concern, as everyone else did, though he was alone saw a distressing look on Naja's face, the look of defeat. Oh, he looks badass. I like the look of this guy. And I like that one scar, yeah. And my buddy here is a sword wielder. Naja. Oh wait, I want to do a voice for him. Naja, how did it go up there? Should I prep our men for... Naja leapt up on her horse, saddle with ease, roaring to her clansmen. We're heading out, now! No one questioned Naja's order, swiftly trailing behind as her horse galloped ahead. Naja and her tribe ventured out towards the wasteland, drifting away from the fortress. I like how I'm reading this like a storyteller. After an hour of riding, the view of the fortress was lost. Naja and her clansmen dropped dead in the tracks. Naja leapt from her horse and desperately looked for something to focus her rage on, and demanded the war she saw order. They approached a hillside littered with rocks of varying sizes. She could feel the weight of them pressing down on her son. The sight drove Naja into a spiral fit of heartache. The creeping shadows over each rock terrified her. She could hear them in her head, the cries from the bodies buried beneath them. The mournful fear she held swiftly boiled over, leaving only rage in its wake. Naja rushed towards the largest boulder she could find. It took nearly the whole span of her arms to even I'm just sure that's supposed to be lift it, but they put lift it, and she threw the boulder out into the horizon. Naja's fists began to tremble. The rage began to engulf her body and soul. I'm not going to be able to read that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to read it logically, anyway. They call us savages, they call us primitives, fodder to feed their flames of bloody war. Naja fed into her anger. Peering into the faces of those who'd followed her, she lashed at the air, working herself into a frenzy. They take everything. They give us no empathy for their soldiers. They give no empathy for their soldiers, for us. They took my son. She prowled through the group of them, pointing at each member in turn. Anger and sadness burned in her eyes. They took your Makashta. You will never hear from your Weir will never dream of home again. They took their lives, and felt no loss, not as we have. They laughed. The group stared in shocked silence, feeling the weight of the word burning into their pellets. Naja choked up, tears beating down her muzzle and falling to the mud beneath her feet. This would make a very interesting movie. 5 years. For 5 years we fought their campaigns. Bloodied our swords, our claws are fur, but we still have those grunts. We are grunts to those highborns. Naja glared through the glassy reddened eyes to the direction of the fortress. Lost over the hills now, but burned in her memory. They sit on ivory carved from our tusks, claiming glory, building foundations from our bodies to reach their meaningless titles, to support bastard legacies. Naja turned to her tribe, snarling and spitting at the thought of the highborn. They wish to craft the world in their image, build halls of false heroes, and march into parades to show off their glorious military might. I don't want a world built in their image. It's plenty ugly enough already. Everyone scoffed in disgust at the notion. And we are supposed to accept this because of their special blood? Naja took a stone from the ground and tossed it in the fortress direction, watching it disappear into the night sky. I'll be damned if history gives them that pleasure. If anyone is going to be remembered about this war, it'll be the men, women, and children drowned in blood, those highborn lords of the court. Those pieces of shit deserve to fade away. The warriors who stood with her roared up, a storm with her monologue. This war, it's nearly at its end. I can taste it in the air. No kings, queens, or barons. The sun will shine upon the glory of the barbarians. Their collective roars threatened to bring down the sky. Naja perched herself up on the rocky hillside. I'll hang by my neck before I allow us to be forgotten by the end of this war. We are Shaskaran. For every babe birthed, a legend is created, for that is our right. The clansmen began to chant and bash their weapons in uproar. They marveled at her as she pointed to the setting sun and the coming night. The Emperor is on the move, and will be the first to meet his groomed ass. I will personally take his head to show this pathetic nation who we are. We are the true victors. The group cheered in a massive roar for their chieftain, eagerly chanting her name. Who are we to this world? Are we pawns? The troops, the roaring troops yelled, "No! We are warriors. We do not breed whelps, and we do not suffer fools. We are Shashkarans. The world will remember this day, the day when the Shashkaran exposed the Emperor. We will serve the head from the Serpentine Empire. The fangs of war will snap shut, and we, the Shashkaran, will hold the bloodied blade." The Milta of animal warriors burst into savage roars to the heat of their leader's words, only to be snuffed out as Naja shouted for them again. "It will be a long march before we leave at first light. Take your rest now. Tomorrow we claim our birthright." Naja watched as her tribe dismounted their horses and set to be ready in the camp. She spotted the vulture scout of hers approaching the camp. Pretty. I thought a vulture character would be ugly, but that's actually nice looking. And I love how they use the lighting actually in the game, because that's actually really pretty. She walked to meet her, impressed, close enough to whisper, How far have your scouts tracked him?" Female. Oh, she doesn't have a name, it's just female vulture. 2 days march, Naja, if the horses keep their place. Good. Naja made a move to leave before the vulture spread wing to block her path. "But my scouts tell me that this regiment is large. They might even have siege weapons, probably the only reason we'd be able to catch them." Naja gave the vulture a long, thoughtful look. "Doesn't matter, one way or another, from what I have planned, we'll be at his throat before the chance to use them. But what if they do? What then? What did you did at the keep? We're going to be certain to be high on his hit list. We're the only true threat to the Empire. If something happens to us, they might." The vulture lost sight of her words as Naja draped a comforting paw on her shoulder. The reassuring gaze she saw in the lioness's eyes calmed the worry within. "Nothing is going to happen to our people. We will stand triumphant." "What are we?" The vulture creaked out a beaky smile and nodded her head. Naja firmly stared into the bird's eyes, pressing a claw index finger to her chest lightly. "Made sure it's us, and only us who know the Emperor's whereabouts." The vulture nodded and flew off to meet the other scouts, leaving Naja alone to oversee the encampment. Again, this game is so freaking amazing with how it does shit. Silence swept over the encampment, with only a light padding of chatter and the crackling of bonfires breaking through the cool air. Naja rested on the nearby tree branch, watching over the camp up to the crescent moon overhead. Naja closed her eyes, losing herself in deep thought. Her fists clenched away and unclenched as she replayed everything she'd done that day. She wanted to cry, to let it rain down, to nourish the roots below her, to let the tree consume the grief. That wasn't an option. You must always live in the present, as her mother taught her. Never look back and dwell on the past. As the leader of the entirety of Shashkara, we need to hold it strong. This is like really deeper than I thought it would be, but still. Regina. Naja's ears perked up, her eyes dart out to the voice. Under the forest, a 7-year-old lioness peered up at her mother with concern. "Regina, what are you doing?" Oh, this is her daughter! Naja reached down and used her tail as a rope for Regina to climb up to her. She embraces her tightly in her lap, so much like her little brother, and she was just a cub. "Regina, I couldn't sleep. I've been having bad dreams." "Of your brother?" Regina nodded, peering into her mother's eyes. "Why did they have to die like this? I thought we were safe under the World Cup banner." This is getting sad. I didn't know she had a daughter. I only knew about the son and the... Oh, this is tragic. Naja rubbed the back of her daughter's head in soothing comfort. This war brings out the worst in others, Regina. Even cowards will desperately do anything to survive, even if it means... Naja paused. In sorrow, she desperately tried to hold back. Filled her eyes, she choked on her words, balling her fists. Her nostrils flared up from her seeping rage as she banish the tears forming in her eyes. It quickly subsides and Medina chimes in. It's not far. Nadia let out a soft sigh. I know, dearie, I know. Nadia lightly lifts up Medina's forehead before hugging her. The mommy is going to end this war once and for all. Medina pushed away her tears in her eyes. But that's what I'm afraid of, Mom. What if you can't? What if you're gone too? Oh my god, the daughter's worried about her mom dying. This is sad. Like, this will genuinely pull your heartstrings. Regina looked away from her mother, yet too ashamed now to show her doubt to her mother. They say the Emperor is part dragon, that he breathes fire and tears his foes in two. Nadja rubbed Regina's cheek to soothe her worries away, giving her a comforting smile as her daughter held onto her paw with such a useful strength. I don't want to lose you too. A solemn frown curves Nadja's muzzle before it snaps into a sly smile. What, you don't think I can beat some pansy highborn? Regina perked up to gaze to her mother, unsure how to react. This was her mother, after all. The eerie sense of dread had already lost all sense of hope for her. Huh? If he's anything like the shit stains we follow, it ought to be a cakewalk, Medina. Also, the names on this are really pretty. Medina bit her lip in concern, but Nadja held her daughter tenderly by the shoulders and gazed softly at her. Did you forget who your mother is? I would end the world before bowing to some pesky highborn. Nadja cackled slightly to ease the tension for her daughter, jokingly gestured around. Hell, if he is anything like our royal pains, the only action he has ever had in his life would be grooming his own balls. Okay, that was a good one, and that's a solid roast. Regina cracks a smile after wiping a tear away and giggles. Now I'm curious about how old actually Medina is. Snuffles. Sounds pathetic if he's part dragon. Nadja slightly draped a muscular arm around Medina's neck and pulled her back into her lap. She extended her black claws out in front of her daughter. Her daughter's followed suit, comparing her small claws to her mother's. Well, it'll be good to know that he polished them at least, because once I take his head, I'm going to take them as well. It'll give you something to play with when we travel back home. Regina lightly elbowed her mother with a gleeful laugh. Mommy. Nadja laughed along with Medina. Oh, I quit before I could read that. Oh wait, there's a bat. Nadja laughed along with Medina, hugging her tightly while sniffing at her daughter's ear in response. What? I suppose I can just pin them to his head once. It's on a pike. Medina snickered along with her mother as she rested back up against her. Maybe put some bells in them. Make them jingle when we parade around in our village. That's my girl. Excellent idea, Medina. That's thinking like a shashkaran. Nadja and Medina laughed in each other's comfort. Medina smiled outward in her mother's lap, staring towards the moon, wrapped in Nadja's arms. I hope you win right away, Mom, and I'll end all of this soon. Nadja sighed softly, staring down at her baby girl, looking in the back of her head. Oh, that's quite a gift to have, Medina. It's not a powerful thing to possess. Medina yawned softly as she rested her muscle on her mother's arm. Giving mothers hope is the most sincere way of having trust built towards you. Not only do you give others something to look forward to in the future, but you carry their dreams, their goals, their life with you when you give them hope. Nadja lightly groomed the back of Medina's head. But it can be the most devastating weapon to have as well. Medina turned to stare up at her mother. It's one thing to give hope, but it's another to take it, to rip it away from her. All their dreams shattered before them, humiliating them and leaving them in a mess of confusion before reality finally hits them. Nadja extended her arm up, burying her claws again, twisting her wrist as she watched them glint in the moonlight. You dangle hope in the face and crush it in front of them, crippling them as their future is lost. That, Magina, is something only deserving the most of your hated enemies. That sounds pretty cool, Mom. Magina nodded, coiled her arm back around Magina and purrs. Nonsense, it's how I met your father, after all. Magina tilted her head up in confusion. What? Nadja wrapped the young lioness in her arms and rocked Magina back and forth in her embrace. He thought he defeated me in a duel. When he went in for the finishing blow, I counted him and finally showed him just how much I was holding back. You should have seen the look on your father's face when I did. Haha. He was so adorable, all frustrated and bruised up. And he took you as his mate even after humiliating him like that? Why would he do that? Because he's scared to say no to the woman that could rip his balls off. I mean, I would be scared of her too if she kicked my ass and goes, now you're my husband. I'd be like, okay, I'm not gonna argue with you, scary lady. Right? What makes you think he settled for me? Haha. Here's the thing, when you see something you like, you don't pussyfoot around it. You wish it to happen. You must take the life by the balls and wear it down, till it's yours for the taking. You'll do the same when you find yourself a mate someday as well. I'm certain of it. Okay, can I just say, despite how this game is, that was a really endearing conversation, and you can tell there's emotions in this game.
That's actually good advice.
Yeah.
Take like 5 balls.
Nadja boops Magina's nose lightly as she jiggles softly, watching her cub settle into sleep. Whispers into her ear. Till then, you can give me your hopes and dreams, my precious little moonlight. So let's Nadja and Magina mellowed into the tree as they faced the moonlit sky. Ooh, so pretty! Beautiful artwork in this storyline. I'm loving the story because it's super sweet. A polished desk sat at the center of a lavish imperial tent, hung with war trophies, weapons, and trunks of books. There sat a lion emperor, a solitaire valar, clad in black and red armor, with a cape lined with red and gold. His long, well-kept black hair hung perfectly from his head down to his shoulders. The emperor scribbled down notes while eating his morning breakfast of exotic fruits. His head perked up as he heard the sound of bullhorns somewhere close within his own camp. A large burly bison decorated in iron armor stepped into the tent. Panic dripped off his face. Lieutenant Morn. My lord, an enemy war party has spotted us from the east. They're heading this way. The emperor turned from his chair with a puzzled look on his face. Oh, he looks emo. You're emo. He's super emo. Right? He's emo looking. Hey, Mr. Emperor. The emo teens wanted their wardrobe back for cosplay. What banners do they carry? It's Shashkar, sire. Their party is massive. The Emperor furrowed his brow at a moment before knocking his chair to the side as he stood and glared toward the battle map. Each faction was on the map, represented with coins. How the hell did those this close to us? They're not savages from what I've read so far. Well, that's the word for it, sir. The Emperor dashed out of his tent. Solaire's tent sat atop a hill below as men scrambled about between their own tents and fires. Oh, the artwork is so pretty! Fist behind his back, he strode over to a neighboring hill. Oops. Being used as a scouting post to see the situation himself, he peered out to the morning sun. In the distance, he saw them. Shashkarar. It looks like they're walking towards us at this rate. They're going. Perhaps they don't know about us being here. The king growled to himself, altering the guardsmen who stood next to him. If they didn't know before, that fucking horn probably tipped them off. Ooh, there's a red bird. Sire, we're hardly a covert camp. They would have seen us. To their immediate right, was a thin-built harpy eagle. Dressed in her formal button-up uniform, his ruby-red feathers ruffled in the wind as he peered through a bronze telescope. He looked like a pirate. Yarg, mateys, I be Captain...
Pirate.
He's like, Yarg, mateys, I be Captain Butthead. His name is Romeo Pax. Well, you're only one letter off Romeo, man. Yes, he's only one letter off Romeo. Looks as though they are ready for a skirmish. If that's the case, Lieutenant, get the ballast armed and ready. At their first sight, be arrows sitting deep in their orbit, setting them around the perimeter in case they ambush us. You're not gonna beat them. The Emperor's words were cut off by a screeching of a hawk pierced through the camp's commotion. A group of hawk soldiers swooped down to land. The head of the group dug his talons in the ground as he stood across the dirt. Wearing a shimmering pleated gown of silver and blue threading, a navy blue feathered male hawk met Solaire with an arm shake. He's a king bird. Why do I feel like you're gonna die?
Just flashing.
No, there's a whole bunch of cats coming and there's fucking birds. I came as soon as my scouts reported in Naloy. What trouble did you get yourself into this time? You tell me. Here are the eyes of my empire. They turned to face the incoming war party. They're rather, to put it lightly, odd. Their formation is all over the place. They have aviators to scout us, but do not use them. They have the archers, but dared not attack us. They simply ignored us. Perhaps they seek to surrender themselves. General Pax stared intensely into his telescope as they conversed, noting they forgot to put his face there. Defensive equipment leading the party, archers right behind them. He found it curious how Shashkar, the battle-hardened clan, held no expression of fight on their faces. His brow arched as he took in the sight of one leading the pack. That might be the furthest from the truth, my lord. The feathered general sounded up the Emperor telescope, directing his gaze to the center of the group. I'm highly betting it's Nadja. A massive lioness led the party, carrying a burnt orange banner with a blood-red moon etched with claw marks. Yep, Nadja. The Emperor pulled the telescope away from his eye, with a baffled look splattered across his face. I had no idea we can grow that big. Oh, she's bigger than him!
No shit! Is he gonna get behind him? When a king is like...
I don't know how tall he is, but she was 7 foot.
He's going, I had no idea we could grow that big?
What if he's like 5 foot?
That'd be...
Nadja's coming to town.
Yeah, no, but only...
Nadja's clan reached the edge of the forest. They halted their advance and grouped onto the one big wall of metal and muscle. Nadja herself squatted down with her banner beside her. Zuda rode on horseback in front of her to relay commands. A crude smirk curled over her lips as she greeted with a sight of glimmering night, bursting out into the forest on horseback. Zuda held his arms aside to halt the clan from attacking the night. Perfectly polished armor glinted in the sunlight as he neared the war party. Oh, this guy is like totally random and he's wearing a helmet. That is as close as you are allowed to come here, my majesty's army. You may discuss the terms of your surrender to me here. Every clansman, including Nadja, howled and laughed toward the knight's decree. Ha! Oh, we're willing to talk already, just not to some scrawny tin can. Tell his majesty we're up here for face-to-face discussion only. Zuda, you just became one of my favorite characters. You were thinking what I was thinking. This dude is a tin can. And if he was punched, his armor would impale him because there's a whole bunch of army of badasses in front of him.
What they call?
Scrawny, how dare you? Do not challenge the wolf. Have you any jest as to whom you're addressing? A dim-witted look hung over Zuda's face as he looked at his fellow tribesmen for advice, but no one knew any better. Not even Nadja seemed to show any concern. Deep down, however, she was loving every second of this, making the fools of the elitists like the Empire. It was a simple pleasure in her life, as sweet as spring honey. I am the Emperor's most trusted emissary, his swift and true liaison. A pox towards my words, as a pox towards his. Oh boy, you're one of these characters, huh? Zuda let out a long dramatic sigh. Fine, and just who might the shiny messenger boy be? Okay, Zuda. Zuda is awesome. You, my simple friend, may refer to me as Sir Jeremy. Okay, if you have a normal name, don't put Sir in front of it, because then it makes you look like an idiot. Agreed?
Oh, Papa says, my name is Sir Jonah.
Like, okay, if you have a perfectly normal name, like, okay, just don't put Sir in front of it, because everybody else in this has really badass names, and you're just, hi, I'm Sir Jeremy. I look like a tin can. Are we going to see you without your helmet? Oh, you're actually, oh my god, you know what I just realized? That's actually the picture for one of the artists that got used. How did that helmet fit on your head? In the heat of his build-up, Jeremy's helmet on his head could reveal his face. He was a scruffy gray, popped out of place. His hair was scruffy gray, popped out of place. His gray tighter fur glimmered with the rising sun. Stunned silence swept over the clan. After the mention of his name, Zuda broke the silence by preaching to his people. My friends, my companions, I ask you to bow your heads immediately. We are in the holiest of presence, graced by the sun itself. Shining night, Jerry. A collective roar of laughter burst through the field to the tribe. Even Naja, who had to bite her tongue to avoid rolling in the grass with laughter. Sir Jeremy found a little amusement in this. Simply, he brushed this off as a simple-minded barbarian is laughing at their own petty jokes. Such a pitiful band of warriors. Tigger. I feel like you're gonna get hurt. Because you look like a tin can and you just took off your helmet, which was probably the only thing keeping your pretty face intact. After a good hearty laugh, Naja cued this time as her time to step in. She braced herself on her knee and stood, not towering beside her banner, carrying her colors with pride. She strode over to the knight. At first glance, Jeremy didn't see Naja as much of a threat, but as she drew closer to him, her true size dwarfed his own. He was awestruck at her massive build. Are you sure he's not just staring at her tits? Because, yeah, I think that's what he would be doing. Naja approached along the side of him. To his bewilderment, she was still staring him down, regardless of him being on horseback. She was massive, powerful, wildly alluring to him. Don't flirt with her. She's married. That would be wrong. Jeremy felt the burning across his cheeks, a blush unbecoming of a knight. He was at a loss for words, being stricken with frightful and wooed of lioness before him. It was only after she staked her ground to the banner that he came to. Dude, don't be undressing the person that's about to kill you with your eyes. Right? Don't be getting your mind in the gutter, bro. Especially not when the woman who could kill you is right in front of you. She probably has more abs than you do. Like, look, she's got a full pack. Oh my god, she's got a full 8-pack. Oh boy, you better run. Do you speak for these people, Madame? Oh, he just called Naja Madame. A crooked smile carved its way across Naja's mouth. She could easily tell what was going through Jeremy's mind right now. He was hardly the first. Throughout history, Shaskaran women have been notorious for using their female assets as personal weapons to charm the simple-minded. Jeremy was no exception.
We just got caught with some money. Saskarian charm, aggressive.
I don't. The question now is how would she approach this?
Saskarian charm.
I want to flirt with him to see. Her eyes no longer met his. As he met the knight, he couldn't help but drift into. Oh! The knight couldn't help but drift his eyes to her breast, and he could be putty in her fingertips. Gripping the shaft of her banner, Naja knelt to meet his eyes once again. She flooded her own at him, and a dark smile traveling over her face. Hi, I do. I am Naja Shaskar. I am here to gain an audience to bask in your Emperor's grace. She went forward to plant his colossal paw on his shoulder plate. leaving her chest out towards him with sad plea. Her robust hips arched out for him to gaze on her as well. Her tail swayed hypnotically from side to side. She is totally like playing the slut here. My dearest knight, would you fetch him for me? She could feel the young tiger shaking in his armor. She could feel his heart beating, racing, the shimmering plate mail. She captured him with the same snare of youthful vigor. Oh, Dennis blush. Is that bad? As much as we'd enjoy peace talks, His Majesty is here, but if you wish a ceasefire, we wouldn't wait for a message. Wait for a message from the we. Each moment the knight tried to compose himself another opportunity for the lioness. Distracting him with gentle caresses to the shoulder, her tail lightly swatted at the ground behind her. There was a rhythm to her swats, a rhythm well known to her people.
Oh shit!
During diplomatic exchanges, the Shasharan devised special cues with their tails to hint toward their men. Each cue varied depending on how negotiations went in the case. All of her tribesmen knew what she wanted them to do. Lusty. Oh god, they're all gonna play sexual. All the female ones are gonna play sexy. What have I done? What did I do? Was flirting a bad choice or was it a funny choice? I can't figure it out now. Because of this one damn word. This is harsh. This is harsh. What do I do? Naja cut him off by leaning temptly close. Surely he could smell her out here, her eyes widening with poofs of affection pouring out to him. My dearest Jeremy, we have traveled so far. How long must we wait? I didn't imagine this. The gray fur around Jeremy's face bled into blistering shade of pink. Now, see, guys, this is the funny stuff. It says what game it is in the description. Actually, actually says it right in the title. Literally, it's Regal Tales. It's pretty funny so far. If you guys missed the beginning, well, sorry. I think you guys would have liked the intro. From what I understand, this is pretty, yeah, you know, mature game, I think. Yeah, I read that. Dude, can your mouth drop any more open? Didn't an audible clash of metal on metal eliminated from his own chainmail tightened, causing him to squirm uncomfortably. Did he just get a boner? Oh no. Oh no. That has to be so uncomfortable. What have you done, man? That's not smart. Oh god, that has to be hurt because you're in metal. A devious smile crept over Naja's moss. She sprang onto the young knight's knees. Oh god. She brushed her fingers to the back of his neck, teasingly pulled at this breath of his fur, toying with it while cooing. Oh my god. He got a boner in his armor. Because it just said the sound of metal on metal, a dent in his groin. Why did I have to choose the flirt route? Oh my god, I have to do the voice for this line. Then again, since you're already here, how about we just take you in as a prisoner of war, keep you in our company while we wait for the Emperor to show up. Oh, that does not... Naja, you be playing a major flirt there, girl. If you start fucking him, I'm done. No. She directs his gaze with hers and shows her clan behind them. A majority of the front lines were now female. Women of all races and sizes gleefully waved at the longing smiles toward Jeremy. Some of them even loosened their armor to be more revealing. Jeremy shivered, squirmed timidly while the lioness nipped at the back of his neck. His tail fidgeted uncontrollably, beat against the back of his saddle. His creeping claws began to trickle down to his bones. It was started to get hot in his armor as Nadia sensually tortured him. Oh, good gods. Yeah, I bet you would feel like that. You caused Naja to get so annoyed with you, she had to flirt with you. And now you have an entire army, basically, of women flirting with you and pulling their armor a little open. Oh, Jeremy, you idiot. What have you done? You couldn't just say, yes, you can pass, scary giant lion woman. You had to be like, oh no, good gods, no. You poor fool. Gods? Naja reveled in the night's sweet response, toying with his confusion. Once more, she scooped his head to her chest, grinning out of his sight. She changed her tone. Solemn, mocking words fell from her mouth. Oh, by the gods, who am I kidding? A noble knight such as you shouldn't endure such an unjust fate. You are an emissary to the Emperor, after all. How hopeless of me to dream of an Emperor's misery. Oh, burn! What would it say about us? I'm sure someone like the Emperor appreciates the diligence toward them. We should just do that. Right. It looks so uncomfortable for him. Now go. Speak on our behalf, noble knight, and we'll patiently await your return. Before the knight could recover, Naja swept the back of her paw over his cheek and then gave him a firm smack on the rear of the horse. Jerry dangled limp from the saddle as horses sped off, trying desperately to firm his seat in the saddle. Naja twirled to face her triumph, a devilish grin creeping across her muzzle, showing her pointed white teeth. Keep your weapons, though, sisters. If that was passed for the Emperor's best, this war's climax will be ours for the taking. Oh, Naja, you and me have the same idea. But what kind of climax? I hope it's the kind of one that's like epic battle.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure I can't show the other kind on YouTube without getting in trouble. The entirety of the group hollered. If the Empire would have been humiliated in such a way, it would go so much as sweat broken beneath Shaskaran fur. This war finally gave a sliver of hope for them. Okay, so apparently the flirty thing is good. Oh,
Remember they said
I
they
just
used
realized.
women's assets.
Yeah, I just realized that Emperor is gonna notice that he has a boner.
Yeah, dented his armor.
Yeah, when we said dented his armor. Jeremy crossed the threshold to the Imperial camp, being greeted by the Imperial sentinels. Oh no. He wasted no time and went directly to the Emperor. Inside his private tent, the Emperor and his officers huddled around a war mat. Once Jeremy entered, everyone's attention snapped to him. Ah, yeah, the dent is still there! You're back. Yeah. Yeah. What news have you brought? Did they do anything to you? Jeremy paused with a sigh after being cut off so frequently. Speak up, lad. The enemy is literally on our toes right now. Jeremy held up a finger to gain a word in the conversation. I don't think the enemy is the right word to describe them, at least in this case anyway. Everyone stared quizzically at him. How do you mean? Well, they are more friendly than the most we've encountered at him. Everyone in the tent threw a morbid look his way. Friendlier how? Ooh, you're blushing again, Jeremy. The young knight recounted his brief time with the mighty lioness. Every word, every touch, every smile she shared with him. The thought of her touch alone made him fumble at her words. You see, Lady Naja presented herself. No, I mean, I held herself in such a manner I didn't find threatening. Oh, you're such a sap. The Emperor held his paw in attention. Lady Naja, you say? Who is she to Shashkar? A messenger officer what? She shows herself to be the leader of them all, my lord. She wishes to have a word with you. Yes, she does now. I suppose the entire Shashkaran war party is just her entourage? Yes, now that we are on the topic of that, how does the lineup consist of? More infantry, archers, cavalry? Oh, their lineup? Is he about to talk about their breast sizes? Because that's what it seems like. Jeremy's body stiffened after recalling his time with Shashkarans. Dude, you did not just get hard again. Memories of all the Shashkaran men and women, including... Okay, you're bi. Because this is men and women. You're bi. So it's men and women. And it says you're looting over both of them, man. What the hell did you see of the dudes? It only said the women in the description.
The dudes were originally on the front line until the tail twitching thing.
He must have had the hots for Zuda then, because Zuda's the one that interacted with him.
Remember, when she was flirting with you, the tail twitched.
Okay, hang on. His tail coiled around his waist as the nervous fidget broke out from his legs. An audible rattle beard from his... You need to learn how to control down there, buddy.
Yeah.
Especially in front of your emperor. His tail coiled around his... Oh wait, I read that. Shut it out already. What type of Jeremy? Oh god. Poor Jeremy. And that was the worst wording to use on this poor kid.
Gear.
Oh, they were packing something, alright. Both the general and the emperor rubbed their eyes in annoyance, all while the lieutenant snickered to himself. Alright, Sir Jeremy, that will be enough for now. He understands what's going on. Romeo's the only one who understands what he fucking means. Indeed, Lieutenant. Yes, sire. See it to it that Jeremy takes to the bathhouse. Don't even bother stripping him down. Just toss a cold bucket on him for now. It'll be my honor, my lord. You're just... That makes him sound like an asshole. The dude can't help it. Not after what he got shown. I mean, his face literally got pressed into tits. Come along, lady killer. Oh, so you aren't incompetent. You knew what he meant. The towering bull patted Jeremy on the shoulder and motioned for him to follow. Jeremy, however, trotted forward first to his bow to the emperor. He held his own tail and both paws as he did so. I'll be on my horse, ready to be at your beck and call, sire. I like how he's even like, yeah, sure, Jeremy. You sure you don't want another piece of lion booty? What did I just open?
Bottom right, bottom left corner.
You're still getting a cold shower, lad. Jeremy's grip on his tail tightened, and a mournful groan bellowed from his chest once the dreaded cold shower sunk in. Yes, sire, at once. Malrin guided Jeremy out of the tent, leaving only sucked so hard. That was enlightening. Of all the years we've had him speak on the Empire's behalf, never have I seen him so flustered. Solaire took a deep sip from his goblet in mid-thought. Curious to see how the war has changed with Shashkarans. Normally they are most ruthless and the most seductive on the battlefield. How would you know? How do you know about their seduction, sir?
Word of mouth.
I can't recall a time Shashkaran ever wanted to negotiate before a battle. They must have been desperate at the point to change tactics like this. Fate must have been dealt us a devious hand to bring us the seductive ones. They're not seductive. That was an act. They are there over their heads, afraid with the enemy as their endgame. If that is the case, I feel sorry for Sir Jeremy then. He most likely never stood a chance with them. That makes perfect sense in this situation. We'd be stained in blood by now if the party was out to overpower us. They're going for a more close and personal approach, it seems. This war may have brought them to the brink of desperation to try such an approach on us. As much as I would love to poke holes in that strategic logic of yours, desperate times would call for desperate measures, especially with what that lioness was wearing. The Emperor threw a weak laugh out before drying himself with his goblet. This game is hard to take seriously, but at the same time, it's freaking amazing. I wonder if anybody is actually still watching me play this, besides the one person and not confused as fuck. The Emperor threw. She does seem very tempting to have such a nice long talk with. Very tempting. Swear! Dude! Oh my god. Now I'm curious about what head she's gonna take off him. What head are you gonna have ripped off now, sir?
Remember, she also said she might give the...
No, she said she's taking the balls with it.
Taking the balls and giving it to her daughter for a playpen. On the trip home.
Jeremy is probably the best testimony we have on this Naja woman, and she holds herself in troubling times. I doubt I'll give her the same result like that with Jeremy. It'll break her heart once she figures out I took a vow of celibacy to swear myself to no one until this war is done. Quite the ill fate for Shishkar and Duchess. Ill fate indeed. The general shook his head in bemusement at the Emperor's mocking words. He rubbed his eyes with talons aside. Shut up. What? I take my vow seriously. Yes, it acts as the perfect defense whenever arranged marriages come up, doesn't it? Well, this is one of the benefits of the vow. You are correct on that part. So, you honestly believe that Naja woman brought her entire clan as a gift just to propose to you? You truly think the mighty Shishkaran warlords will surrender their armies for a chance in your pants? This dialogue is killing me. Is this all because I chose the flirt route? If so, I might have chosen the best funny route in the game. The Emperor thought on the concept briefly, taking another sip from his goblet and shrugging. What? You don't think highly enough of your Emperor to achieve such a feat? No, of course not. I'm just imagining all those lovely suitors we've allied with during the war. How distraught do you think they'd be if you went close and chose a savage over them? I'm more tempted to speak with this Najin more and more now. Dude! Are you gonna get a boner too? Are you gonna be another Jeremy? Oh, I cannot wait to see my Uncle Jeremy watch this video.
Oh God!
Oh, that is simply cruel.
I forgot he's one of your subscribers.
You sure it isn't you that's the desperate one here? Ouch, Ronio, you're a savage. Way to go, Pox. Oh, now I realize why you're named Pax. You're a bird and it's a joke on chicken pox. You know, it's funny his last name is Valor when he's thinking about getting in a woman's pants. His last name is Valar. I don't care how long it takes to find an empress. I'm going to be reigned in by these petty traditions every kingdom seems to follow.
I'm not.
And none of your previous suitors tickled your fancy? No. Half of them were already old and barren. We couldn't have a child even if we tried. And the rest we're still children in their own rights. Solaire took a rough chug of his drink and emptied his goblet. The Empire will be called many things after this war is finished, but I'll be damned if it's remembered like that. General Pax sipped from his own drink, chuckled softly at the Emperor's expense. What of that? Captain Pelka's daughter? She is of a ripe age, last I remembered. The boar captain? Hee hee hee. We've seen the... Okay, I get it. He's saying he's worthy of a pig. Ouch! Pax is a savage. We've seen firsthand how they eat. We would need to reinforce the entire dining hall of his entire dressing eating habits. But she's only the princess that meets her age requirement, my lord. If we can call her a princess. Ouch! If she shows up in the game, she's going to be very insulted. I bet. You have the best eyes out for all of us. Not even you could tell the difference between the men and women at that dinner party. No. They gave me too many drinks that night. I told you this. Plus, it was really dark. There were bubbles, wine, and both broke out into laughter. Neither of them could bear how ridiculous it was to go on from the Tatch's words. Patch was the first to collect himself. Shall we get going, my lord? We don't want to keep your next suitor waiting. Shut up. This is too funny. It's an awesome game, but it's funny at the same time.
Coincidence that your Uncle Jeremy is a subscriber and he watches some stuff, and the game has a character named
Jeremy, and he's like got totally perved on. Not just stood idly by her banner while conversing with members of her small tribe. Small talk was cut short from the blasting eruption of drums breaking from the forest. A massive formation of knights on horseback trotted out in rows. The green fields overseeing the forest quickly overtaken by legions of shining armored knights. It only took fractions of Emperor's forces to take up the entire clearing. What was supposed to be an act of showing the might of the Empire through numbers alone, Naja nor anyone else seemed to be fazed by how many Imperials stood before them. As long as everyone had hope in Naja, they never failed to falter to fear. A second orchestra of horns thundered from the forest. All the soldiers opened a gap in the formation, making a way for a second legion of knights. These knights were more decorated than the rest. They were the elite knights to the Emperor, in the center of the Emperor himself. He and his commanding officers strode to the front of the formation. With a simple flick of his wrist, the Emperor silenced the drums in its wake. A collective roar tore across the Imperial Legion. Every man and woman in numerous races cried out in glorious chant in the name of their Emperor. The Emperor and his men strolled out more to the open field, shouting to the distant Naja and her tribe. Solaire turned his attention back and forth to his adoring men, ready to do battle for him the moment's notice. He held a finger to his lips, as if shushing the crowd. He did so, in fact. Everyone silenced themselves at the whim of their Emperor's finger. A sly smirk tugged at his lips at the sight of his doge and army. Solaire brought his attention back to the opposing side, catching a glimpse of the banner Naja had planted. To whom do I have the pleasure of speaking with? From the look of your colors, you're the infamous Shashkara clan, or no? Naja cackled and shouts out to her clansmen. Hear that, boys? The mighty Emperor called us infamous! The clansmen hooted and hollered at the compliment. Knowing how the other highborns greeted one another, Naja mockingly bowed and gestured around me, addressing the Emperor. Why, yes, you guessed it. You also have the honor of meeting its Grand Chief, Naja. I love Naja as a character already. Is that bad? Because she's funny.
Also smartass.
Just Naja. Naja nods, speaking with pride. Surnames hold no meaning to us. To carry a name built of a legacy of others is pointless. Just because you come from the name shouldn't instantly grant the respect placed onto it. You make a name of your own, or none at all. The Emperor nodded thoughtfully to Naja's words. I must say, you're making a name for yourself pretty well. Here, I thought you'd have the pussyfooted your way out like all the other highborns. But here you are. Here I am. So, what business do you want of me? You wish to negotiate, did you know? Naja's amused expression darkened in a psychotic grin. Oh, I got a deal, all right. I am damned in this war. Solaire arched a bow throughout this compliment, and amused lighting up in his eyes. Oh, do you now? Well, I'm all ears. Well, it's simple, really. I'm going to take your head. A commotion erupted in the Imperial formation, with soldiers voicing their outcries at Naja. The Emperor held his palm up to silence them. Hope he left his eyes of dread flooding to take in its place. I challenge you to a single-handed combat. Give this war a satisfying end. Take up your arms. Fight for once. Not with others, not with tricks, but with honor, with your own blood. The taunting roars of the Shashkarans left the Emperor unfazed. His golden eyes sternly stared at Naja. It's been known that Shashkarans are an ambitious clan. I would never expect it to be this ambitious, though. What makes you think I'd ever accept such a savage arrangement in the first place? We could kill you now, and your names would be left in the dirt you stand on. The Shashkarans fell silent as Naja strode closer to the Emperor. She looked down on the Solaire with her head held high. The fact you are here and not behind some wall says something about you. The fact that you're knee-deep behind enemy lines shows that you are someone who fights with his own subordinates and hunts with resolve. The Emperor was taken aback by the lioness's words. This war has taken everything from us, our dignity, our honor, our friends and families, everything. And for what? In the name of a half-witted ruler, why waste a life on such a thing? Because they have special blood, because of the stupid name they hold? No. Solaire brushed his mane and thought of her words. We're sick of it. Sick of all of this bullshit. We're finished seeing this world blindly follow false leaders. Here we follow the strongest and most noble warriors. Naja pointed at the resolve with to the Emperor's head. And this is why I want your head. The biggest, most infamous highborn this war has ever seen can end this war in an instant. Not only will this war end, but my people will cease to be used by cowardice highborns like you. The Shashkaran warriors roared and cheered their leader's decree. So you gamble your clan away in the hopes I agree to this? I have thousands of men ready to fight for my name, the Valar name. Why should I risk it all for your petty deal? Otherwise, you'll just prove my point. You're just as cowardly as the rest of the highborns. You won't fight your own battles. You'll have someone else to do it for you. So go ahead, prove me right. I'll do your head one way or another. You can even have a champion fight in your stand. Send as many as you like. It won't matter. I'll kill them all. I'll make sure to have them stare into your eyes once I rip their heads off. I'll show them just their last moments in life were spent fighting for a coward. Go ahead, call us savages, mindless brutes, simple pawns. Before this war began, I despised you highborns. All I've ever seen done by your kind is leech off of us. I can't burn the likes of your kind from this world. Then I'll just settle for the one before me. The clansmen began uproar, cheering on the brilliant leader. Nadja murmured to herself, while her clan's cheers drowned out. And once I do, not only will this war end, but the Shashkarans will cease to become the grunts of the war, but the conquerors of this world. General Pax trailed beside Sawyer's horse. Just say the word, my lord. They only have enemy units re-scouted for miles. We can crush them in minutes. The Emperor appeared over the cheering clansmen before pointing to his own men and women ready to die for him. He sternly glared at Nadja. If you were to take my head in single combat, what fate do you have in store for my men if you succeed? Sire? They'll go home to their families unarmed. You have my word. As well will your men if I am to win. Pax grabbed Solaire by the arm. Sir, what are you doing? If you're worried about the casualties, we won't suffer as bad as they will. The Emperor glared at Pax with a stone expression. Won't suffer, you say? Tell me, General, how often do you walk the battlefields after a victory? To walk among the dead and just smell it? The General is a loss for words. I have, all of them. It always smells the same. Rot, piss, and fear. Blood on his paws, he wandered through the battlefields, old again, images of impaled horses, decapitated heads, carcasses crushed in near obliteration. He shook the memory from his head. If I am to build into the Valar name, it won't be off my men's corpses. The Emperor dismounted his horse, leaving the Imperial troops stunned. Every Imperial troop stunned as he undid his cape and unsheathed his claymore sword. I accept your challenge, Nadja, the Shashkar clan. Draw your blades so we can end this quickly. Who said this was a sword fight? I said single-handed combat, didn't I? Nadja used her bared her claws at him, ready to snatch the victory out of the air. Not too late, haha, to back out with your tail between your legs, your highness, haha. Sword growled before slamming his sword to the ground and planting it upward before undoing the heavy parts of his armor. General Pax rushed over, baffled and raged. My word, if this is a pride thing, I must say it's not worth it. You can't possibly. Sawyer shot the general a glare and growled again. What? Don't think I can beat her? Pax shot his eye back and forth between the Emperor and Nadja, noting her massive height, there's a missing H, and half a foot size to Sawyer 6'3". He's only an inch shorter than me. Calculating it all, he fumbled for words. Don't go breaking every bone on your body. This time around, we just restocked our bandages. No promises. Pax led the horsemen away as the Emperor strode forward. Oh, look, it's actually changing the scene progressively. Look, I didn't even notice this, but the scene is changing progressively as the story goes on. Nadja stood idly as Sawyer approached her in the middle of the battle. In the middle of the plain, her head held high as a sly smirk snaked its way across her maw. She reached out to offer a handshake to the Emperor. Sawyer darts his eyes back and forth from Nadja's eyes and her beady paw. It's almost too easy to believe her at this point, he thought to himself. He slowly reached out and following and said the handshake. He never let his guard down, not even once, but he found himself tipping forward as the lioness forcefully snatches him up by the forearm. His cold golden eyes locked with hers as they accepted the challenge. He kept losing his focus on Naja, chuckled with morbid glee. What could possibly be so amusing? Yep. Naja crackled softly. Oh, nothing. I wasn't expecting the almighty dragon-blooded emperor to be so handsome. So I was taken aback and disbelief at the sudden flirtation Naja was giving him. Even with his knowledge about their tantalizing tactics, he still found himself not prepared for it. Already Naja was enjoying the baffled look on her foe's face. Ah, such a shame. That pretty little head of yours will be on pikes soon after this is done. That's savage. Calling him handsome and saying, such too bad it'll be on a pike. She purred it with a chuckle and reached down to pluck the stray hair from Solar's head. Solar winced and sighed once he took in her bitter words. He turned and complimented his own before smirking, looking Naja from paws to ears atop her head. In fact, someone way to claim a trophy. I'm a plagued type of guy myself. Maybe I'll have your head in one of my studies once I'm back home. And maybe one of your ears.
Looks like a rat.
Somebody's looking for the booty. Swiggity swooty. He's coming for the booty, Naja.
Yeah.
Naja's eyes lit with amusement. Oh, you like my ass, do you? Why are we thinking the same? That's literally what we commented. This game is awesome. I'm so glad I downloaded it. Naja shifted her body to show off her busty rear while her tail flipped out. Solar glimpsed at her rear, playing along with the banter. The devilish grin etched its way across Naja's maw as how easily distracted the Emperor was. With a swift weave of her hips, she swung her powerful legs back into the Solar's gut, shooting him 5 stories into the air. Holy shit!
He's 6'3".
That's some power!
She's 7 foot, but still.
The Shaskarans roared in excitement while the Imperial troops watched in horror as our Emperor flew into the air. Solaris probably like, holy shit! Naja bathed in the dread of the Imperials and held jabbed into their pride, pointing and laughing at their savage glee. As Solaris descended, Naja readied herself to be and backflipped into the air, connecting her deadly feet to his chest. Ooh! The might of her kick projected Solarian back into his troops. With a glorious landing, she faced her men and both with her arms held wide. Laughing heartily, she soaked the praise of her men gave her. She spotted big Gina in the crowd and blew her a kiss. Aww, she blew her daughter a kiss. Okay, she's a good mom and a badass. Solaire regained control before hitting the ground. His quads extended out and dug into the dirt, slowly working himself lunged forward. Naja was too distracted with her gloating to notice the men warning her about the Emperor's quick recovery. She turned around, but it was too late to counter the assault. Solaire leapt and connected his fist to her muzzle. As Naja staggered, Solaire hooked with his arm under hers and pulled her down. His ruthless fist whipped with fury at punches until they got. Can I also just say how awesome these battle artworks are? She grabbed his hand. Anger swept over Naja as she shook off the surprising attack and began blocking Solaire's fist. She tried to flail him off her arm, but roared out in pain as she sank his claws into her flesh.
Yeah.
Regaining her footing, Naja gripped onto Solaire's and slammed him onto the ground. Each time she clubbed him to the ground, small craters were left on impact. Solaire loosened his grip on her arm and swung his body upward, slamming his boots to her maw. The force of the impact caused the monstrous lioness to stagger back. He quickly distanced himself from her, scruffed up, and he growled, made position for her next attack. Naja took a knee while rubbing off her beating. She could feel the silent glaze of her men bear down on her, as well as Midchina, now rushing to the front to see her mother. While wiping the blood from her nose, she growled, stewing in rage. Naja poked around the Emperor like a hungry predator hunched over and ready to strike. A savage roar erupted from her before she lunged at him. Serpenting in all directions, she leapt into the air and drove her foot towards the Emperor. Sawyer hurtled out of the way, the impending force of Naja's foot, the force alone embedding her leg knee-deep into the ground. He attempted to move in and jab her in the neck. She stumbled back in surprise as Naja kicks her leg out of the ground and pumps her rug dirt jetting toward him. The Emperor attempted to dodge out of the way, but found the cunning lioness waiting on him. She sideswept him off his feet and her lengthy legs, leaving him to fall on his back. Naja hops to her feet and grips the Emperor by the ankles, heaving him over her head and slams him into the ground. In a flurry of blurred movements, she relentlessly slammed the Emperor flat against the ground. In his moment of desperation, Sword found the opening he needed, while Naja brought him over the head, ready for another slam. Quickly, he dug his paws into the back of her head. Naja cringed in pain, and in a brief second, he forced his right leg free and kneed her in the snout. He jerked his left leg free and embedded it deep in her shoulder, using her as footing. He swung back his right leg and kicked her squarely under the jaw. He took the opportunity from her dazed state to jump above her head, and he elbowed her in the dead center of her forehead. The force impact brought her to her knees. By the time Naja recovered, Sora's uppercut her and delivered a powerful kick to her chest. Naja braced herself across the hands and knees, grasping for air. Sora panted heavily as he cracked his neck. He glared down beside Naja with his claws extended and his fangs bared, growling, "Now do you understand why I'm the Emperor? Stay down and I might spare you." Under her panting body, a crooked grin spread across Naja's mouth. Her tail snagged around Sawyer's ankle. With all her strength, she tumbled over and used her momentum to fling him, however, slamming him face first into the ground. She poured at him, rolling him to his back and pinned down with her own weight. A sadistic snarl stung Naja's face as she saw confidence as Sawyer's golden eyes start to fade. A flurry of punches impacted his face between every venomous word. "You fucking highborns, always claiming the victories, and you know you've never earned it." Naja's eyes stared to fog with rage as she stopped seeing the Emperor between the punches and said, all the kings and queens she'd pledged herself to. Naja extended her claw and swung down the Emperor's neck with a savage hurl ruptured from her. Solar held back her wrist with all his might. Tears started to build as her eyes flooded with rage. The world would be better off without your filth. Naja pulled herself back, baring her fangs as she plunged herself towards Sawyer's neck. Sawyer spotted her plan and quickly countered with headbutting her nose. The impact of the headbutt knocked Naja out of her raging haze. Hissing from the pain of her nose, she felt her weight shift with her Emperor rolling her onto her back. Sawyer quickly slammed his knee across her neck and attempted to pin her by the waist, and allowed Bruce Silky to prey on the rest of the world. The Lion Emperor forced more of his weight down onto the lioness's neck to choke her out. "I'd rather chop off my own tail before I see that. Keeping a dead-on gaze on Naja's sword, failed to see her flexible legs arch forward and snare him by the neck. Using all her core strength, Naja flings the Emperor off of her neck and several feet away from her. Both lions stride to their feet, each faced round one another with a malevolent glare stormed to each side. The roar of clansmen and imperial troops cheering for their leaders rumbles the forest. The pulsating tension builds as the figures reach. Fighters wait for the next move. Naja glares down at the high-born lion, her focus as she feels this warm sensation dripping from her ear. She reaches to find her own blood. A amused smile curls past her lips as she chuckles. "I'm gonna enjoy every last second of this." Both lions stared off at each other before busting forward, roaring at the top of their lungs as they plied once more. Hours flew by as the horrendous brawl went on. Both lions continued their skirmish, battering and countering each other's blows with thunderous roars that fell and shook the ground beneath them. Sawyer attempted to jab a southpaw into Naja's gut, but it swiftly flung away and cleared up with bloodied fur. With her prey in sight, Naja swings her fist dead center into the Emperor's arm and chest. Thud. The force of the impact hurled Sawyer a great distance away from Naja. He landed on his feet, however, but clutched his chest, gasping for air. With pure power, Naja's attack disfigured his armor with a massive flat fist indented into it. Grunting in pain, the lion grimaced while trying to get his armor off. To his dread, he felt the weight of his foe bear down on his shoulders. Naja pulled at his shoulder and cooed, "Aw, too snug?" A toothy grin spread across her maw. Allow me. The towering lioness pinned the Emperor down by his shoulder with the right paw before sinking the claws into the left of his breastplate in a disturbing melody of metal and leather crying out. Nadja tore open the entire front of Solaris' armor. Nadja was absorbed in the miniature victory over the Emperor, but in her high she failed to notice Emperor Solaris was taking strands of his chainmail and whipped across the chainmail across her face. Shards of the armor plate were launched out onto the chainmail, adding a deep cut to Nadja's cheek. Solaris staggered back, finally feeling the relief of his armor lifted from him. He rubbed his exposed chest to catch his breath. Nadja wouldn't allow it. She dashed over and swung her elbow out, bashing it across Solaris' muzzle like a hungry snake. She wrapped her arm around his arm, where he held his makeshift whip. She used the weight of her momentum to assault and fling the Emperor to his back. I thought we agreed no weapons. She shook his wrist violently before let his chainmail whip go. She hoisted him up by the wrist and dangled him to her eye level. Solaris threw a weak glare over at her whilst panting painfully for air hugging his ribs. Nadja's savage snarl slowly turned into a misty whisper as she mused as the Emperor's exposed body, his bronze fur glimmered in the sun, covering his impeccable muscles. Numerous scars were scattered across his body, yet hardly hindered the value of his beauty. What a vile thing to behold on a highborn, a body scarred from the dreary war. I'm sure you must hate others for your precious, for all ruined. Nadja brushed her fingers across Solaris' scars, both amused and amazed at his toned muscles felt through his soft fur. I see his more trophy collection for death. The Emperor threw an uppercut toward Nadja's maw, but found his reach far from her now, and she dangled him at arm's length. Then by all means, let me add to your collection. She extended her claws, savage roar, squeezed her talon over the Lion Emperor's abs. Her malicious eyes held on his. Eager to see the pain erupting from the highborn, he merely flinched at her attack. Puzzled, Nadja looked down at her claws and found no blood, only clumps of fur clung to her talons. She looked at his abs and got seeing no damage done to the flesh aside from the streak of fur. With the lioness bounced with the stoic Lion Emperor gripped onto the arm, and he dangled her and swung herself up. His feet sprung forward and bashed into her muzzle. She let go and cocked her aching maw. Using her advantage, the confused lioness reached the distance from her. Nadja snarled with bitter pain, staring down at the Emperor. Chuckling softly at the baffled lioness, he ran his fingers across his fur, where she tried to tear into it. That's special blood, my dear. The Emperor threw a pretty wink at Nadja. Guess the folk tales are true. You really do have dragon blood in you. There's always some truth to tales, I suppose. But I am no exception. And it makes better sense, at least to a normal person. Your head should have caved in by now. Are you realizing how doomed you are? This is a petty fight, a lost cause. Nadja cackled with a cynical grin. No, not at all. I just have to stop playing with my food is all. Nadja lunged towards, using the strength of all of her limbs to dash towards Sawyer at full speed. Fine. Follow like the rest. Sawyer mapped out his attack. He readied himself from her lunge, and would use her own momentum against her and grapple her to the ground. He waited patiently for her to outstretch her mighty arms to do so. Nadja's arms reached out for him. She stopped dead in her tracks and snatched onto his wrist instead, sinking her fangs into his bicep. His skin was hard as rocks. Nadja, however, was drunk with rage. Her carnivorous fangs pierced into the Emperor's flesh. Shocked at her bizarre attack, Sawyer recoiled in pain as he started to bleed out. An antagonizing roar erupted from him. Conflict continued in the night, but both Imperials and interrupted in time the battle fall to their side. Within the Imperial encampment, General Pacha was saw preparations for his men. He dismissed his war council as the Blue Falcon King. Samuel landed beside him. Your Majesty, General, my men have relayed situations to all the correct captains within the area. As instructed, we've also set up more decoy camps to follow the enemy out as well. A roaring applause broke through Samuel's conversation. He jerked his head to where it was coming from. He stammered with complete awe. Is he still fighting that beast? The Falcon was taken aback by the unruly sight of the Lion Emperor putting the massive lioness into a headlock. The general sighed and nodded. I think he met his match in terms of stubbornness. Neither have shown signs of fatigue yet. But why though? They're always capable of heed. Like I said, he's stubborn like this. The king looked at him in disbelief. Naja, that beast you see there, is boasting about honor constantly to him. She must have stuck something in him to go along with us. Samuel exhausted a long-winded sigh. We're going to be here all night, aren't we? If you're worried about an ambush, we'd had patrols on every side of our camp. Pax pointed his cane toward the Shashkaran war party. So far they haven't moved at all since the fight began. Lieutenant Mound has been keeping tabs on his forces, surveying the fight. So far no one has intervened in the fight. Oh lovely, we're wasting time and resources, but saving faces with a bunch of savages. We're going to kill them if the worst were to happen, yes? Pat scoffed out a sigh. Scoffed out a laugh. You don't have faith in our emperor? Oh, I've had faith in that bastard since we were children, but I'm sure the rest of the empire would react the same as if he loses. The war might as well end if these savages return home unscathed. Without our legacy will be dirt to the common folk. The general nodded to the king's statement. His talons taped across his cane, deep in thought. Yes, well, there's a fresh batch of tea in his tent if you want any. Otherwise, take a seat, and while history gets made. Samuel peered over the general in silence. His blue wet feathers ruffled up before sighing. I suppose this is the safest place to be out on the front lines anyway. He points to the Emperor's tent. Since he's not using it right now, I'll sleep in his bed tonight. I should advise you, he's been shedding during our travels. Just to let you know. The king rolled his eyes with his head tilted up. I'll be sure to leave a feather or two for him, and return then. The king and the general parted ways for the night, Pax to observe the fight from afar. Night swept over the land with roaring crowds dying out slowly. Day broke in the morning and awakened the slumbering masses. Lieutenant Morris staggered from his tent, yawning as the rubbing seeped from his eyes. Coffee. He roamed through the encampment and makes his way to the bonfire. Need my... He yawned heavily as his beefy fingers clasped to grab anything around the felt like a coffee mug. The soldiers around the campfire witnessed the lieutenant approach and whipped out a hot mug for him from the kennel. Thanks. He brought the mug to his lips and froze in awe. His attention was drawn to the fighting area where Solaire and Naja continued to fight. Naja had placed Solaire in a headlock, in a leg lock. Son of a bitch, they're still going at it? All the soldiers around the campfire looked too wondering for the lieutenant. I guess I can't be too surprised with this. The fact I woke up alive to the smell of egg and bacon should have indicated something. But I still would have figured that she'd be dead by now. He took a drink of his coffee, his face cringes with bitter taste. Ugh, we ran out of the good stuff. A soldier nodded at his question. Morning sighed again and took a seat beside his mat. He eyed the bonfire, currently sizzling up a bacon and egg. Take my eggs scrambled when it gets my turn. He stared down at his coffee mug while his meal was being made. He pulled out a wine pouch from the side and uncorked it over his drink. Nothing came out. He grumbled a puff of steam from his nostrils. Well, you guys feel like fighting? I feel like fighting today. The Emperor can't have all the fun with these Shesparans, right? He peers over the Shesparan camps and saw none of them made any attempt at making a meal yet. Most of them are still spectating around the fighting area. Hey, how about you boys start fanning out our delicious food their way? Get their noses do the talking once they catch whenever it's hot. He teasingly fanned his hand over the bacon through throats sent over. How do you guys reckon it'll be till they start demanding for our scraps? An arrow impaled into the log he was sitting on just inches away from his leg. Warren and his men gawked at the arrow still vibrating from the force of the impact. They all shot their attention to where it had come from. Out in the far reaches of the Sheshkaran camp, an archer was accompanied by a white wolf, Zuda. The moment Moramez as Zuda points at the arrow, he's shown the neck of an arrow with a piece of parchment. Moran snapped at his fingers towards the soldier for a moment. His gaze never left Zuda. The soldier pulled the note out from Moran's teeth. The writing was scrappy and illegible. Let's talk. The bold lieutenant huffed a chuckle at the note. He saw nothing else written on the bottom of the note. We have booze. He jolted up and peered at Zuda, now with an arm held high with a bottle of wine in his paw. Moran churned and cracked his neck before howling to his men. He ordered out an envoy to meet with Zuda, insisting any weapons to be discarded if he were to cross over. Zuda obliged and met his men and Moran at his campfire. The white wolf outstretched with his arm, with bottle in hand. Moran raised a brow from the blunt offer. Be my guest to pour one for yourself. Zuda huffed out a sigh. More poison for me, then. He sank his face into the cork of the bottle and ripped it off, spitting it into the bonfire. He held the bottle overhead and drizzled the red wine down his muzzle. Red streaks stained his dirty white fur. Gripping the bottle by the neck, he shoved it into Marlon's face. Charming, aren't you? Marlon snatched the bottle out of Zuda's paw and timidly sniffed the contents inside. I never took you walk to be the talkative type, so kind normally talks with truth like fists and nails.
It's not.
Oh, no. You're not gonna sit there and do a phone call. I have to read this, and if you talk over me, it's gonna ruin it. He took a small sip of the drink and tattered it to his own lips for foreign taste. His lips took a second of the strong drink, savoring it in every sip. While the bull smacked his lips to the wine, tasting the wolf clock on himself onto the neighboring water chimed in. Talking is always an option. If they were it's very scarce where we live is all. Marlon began to inhale the drink. I can bash your teeth in if that's what you're wishing for. Marlon held a finger up to Zuda whilst finishing his swig. The satisfying sigh burst out of him. Pull something like that on me now and you might become my new drinking buddy. He shook his head, discomfort with bitter grin. But I digress. The road will be held to pay if the Emperor found out I started a fight during his negotiations. I was ready to meet the same end with Naja. Zoom tight. Your leader wouldn't be too keen on starting a fight, specifically after the whole honor banter. He finished off the bottle before slamming it into the bonfire. So imagine my surprise when a Sheshkaran, one of the most savage fighters with no war, runs up to me and says he wants to talk. Tell me, why shouldn't I put a muzzle on you now? Well, we've got more kegs of wine to barter out. Okay, give me 2 reasons to not muzzle you. All the unaccompanied soldiers are weird over Zuda. Just a day without fighting is all we can offer. Just Carney doesn't want to fight. Zuda solemnly nodded. Marlon leaned in towards Zuda. The smart people notorious for lining people's heads. Cloth winning, people's heads off, suddenly wants to just talk. Judah stared coldly at the bull. You know of how many of your kind butchered my men? Any clue how many I tore into myself? Judah tried to butt in, but Moron charged on. The thing is, I noticed you lot. You will carry a look in your eyes, a bloodlust, so happily bring it wherever you go. The brooding bull unlatched his warhammer off his back and impaled the spike end into the ground. His eyes shook firmly over the wolf, who didn't express any concern at this threat. So what's your excuse for me not to break your legs today, His eyes narrowed. Zuda went from his seat to Moron. Do I hold the same savage look in my eyes right now? Yeah, I can't say you do. Then again, it's an early morning. I'm sure you'll work up an appetite. If anything, I'm just tired. We are all tired. Zuda unstrapped a leathery canteen flying off his belt to the spit from it. And that blood was. When you live with constant threats of others, it becomes a force of habit once the fighting begins. So take me by my word when I say it. It was never personal, just how we handle things. Just sip of his wine. Just her own life is that heartening. We're not fighting over territories with another. We're usually fighting over food. And ever since that bastard mountain blew its lid up, most sources of food and water were all gone from out. So yeah, the first group to offer us food was who we sided with in this war. That said, if you came to us first, I'm sure the alliance would have favored you just as well, and it would have made this war a lot shorter for sure. I sold your hand in more on a plate of bacon and eggs. Those bastards must be feeding you well if you're sided with them for this long, especially if you have all these wine, you're sitting willing to share. Judah shrugged. You just say that more or less. Marwan raised a brow to Zuda, while a strip of bacon hanging from his mouth. More or less. But give us our due shares. We thought, though we normally see ourselves in the right for more. And who's to say two guards protecting the royal winery will say no to a group of Shashkarans? So drinks are two red guard, huh? Huh, no wonder if it had aftertaste of ass to it. Zuda wiped his lips, taking another swig from his personal wine. It doesn't seem to stop you from suckling you down. Marwan stared him down, and a hearty grin took across the face of Maw, with the fat of bacon. It's an acquired taste. Lord knows the number of asses we've had to kiss during this goddamn war. He ripped half of the strip of bacon from his mouth and tossed it to Zuda. The wolf snatched it and looked mildly amused. There was some drool left over from the bowl, but it smelled crispy to ignore. He saluted to cheer tomorrow, gnawing at the strip. If only negotiations were this simple instead, just some wine, bacon, and a shout. Everyone around the campfire glanced over at the brawling lions. Naja at this point had pinned Sawyer to the ground. With a head off, she hissed out a roar as the Emperor sank his claws and fangs into her forearm. Cornwall chuckled at the resilience of each lion held. His face hardened into a frown as he observed the Sheshkaran crowd opposite from the fight, now dwindled down to a dozen spectators. Where he spotted a small lion cub, shouting at the top of her lungs, "Rip his head off, tear him up, Mom!" So things are that bad in the world of Sheshkar. Even your kids go to war with you? Zuda's ears perked up before turning to Marwan and leaning over. Better here with us than anywhere else. The helmet is up, fucked up, huh? Not exactly. Zuda stirred from his seat and waded towards Morwen. A few soldiers tried to block him, but Morwen signaled for them to cease. Zuda sat beside him and offered him the rest of his wine. Both watched him with Regina. The idea of allies has always been a fuzzy subject for us. Even when we unified together for this war, every tribe chieftain was still fighting to the superior clan leader. As you can tell, Naj came out on top. Marwan took a swig of Zuda's wine. While processing the conversation, the spicy blend jolted him away to wake. Slight slap of vertigo rushed over his senses in the strong drink. I get you. Better to be around mommy and her friends than alone with some wannabe upstairs. He stuck out his tongue and found Zuda's fur left over from the drink. Zuda took the wine from him and took a sip before he turned it to Morwan. It's probably for the best. If anything were to happen to her, Naja would most likely devastate all of Sheshkar. Yeah, my mom was always protective of me when I was young too. Zeus shook his head and leaned to Morrowind. His yellow gaze stared dead into his brown eyes. No. There's no doubt in my mind she would commit genocide on an entire tribe if anyone touched Medina. She's become a completely different creature altogether, but her motherly instincts gripped her. Morrowind looked at the wolf with a curious eye. You're telling me she's been holding back this entire fight, then? If your emperor is stupid enough to touch her daughter, he'll be dead in seconds. Yeah, keep telling yourself that. Zuda shrugged. If it's proof you want, there's a bazaar northeast of here that we visited not far back. You can see the last guy that laid a hand on Medina there. But yeah, what happened? He took us way to the wine, now fully invested in the White Wolf. While we were there replenishing our supplies, a stingy merchant swatted at Medina's paw while she was looking at apples. Last thing he saw was a stone wall Medina slammed him in, not just slammed him into. Oof, I'd hate to be at his funeral if it was an open casket. Nah, last I heard he's still in the wall. Huh? Yeah, his entire body was embedded halfway into the wall. Taking him out would have ruined the wall structure support. Marwan, baffled at the wolf, blinking in pure disbelief, he stared off at Medina and digested the story. Okay then, I'll send a note of this to my men then. No touching the line cub, or else you become a wall ornament. That goes for the rest of us. And we're all family here. That includes Medina. She might as well be everyone's daughter. If the worst were to happen in Naja, you'd think best thing choice for laying a paw on that cub. Morrowind stared down at the zealous wolf. With his idle threat, he took another sip of wine. There it is. There's that look in your eyes I've been waiting for. Judah's brow shrunk into the piercing glare at dark fed bowl. It's just a glimmer, but I can see it. A shell scar and death stare, you will get the battle. Count on me to be amazed to see it used in the defense of the little girl. Marlon stabbed it, laid her legs, and scarfed them down. He casually waved the sword in front of Zuda's chest. As much as your kind has been a pain in everyone's ass, I can't help but admit to have some respect for you. Just when I thought I'd figured you out, or you could continue to surprise me. I guess that makes a bad leader if I can't guess the enemy's next moves, huh? Zuda shrugged. Maybe. Then again, if you didn't stare longingly into my eyes, you might learn a thing or two about us. Zuda! There might be a gay ship in this. I wasn't. Then what might that be? Well, for one, we don't have to go to the life for one and like being enemies. Marlon chuckles and his arms crossed. Most importantly, Zuda snapped his fingers. A massive barrel was slammed between them. Starting Marlon as just turned and waved to salute Zuda. Where the hell did they? Zuda cut him off as he uncorked the barrel and fanned the fermented oil or wine in the campfire. He shot Marlon with a sly smirk. Reach the strands, give me the pretty and best guess you ever asked for. Marlon cocked the brow at his zealous wolf and paused in thought. A sly crooked smile crept his way across his mouth. He took a cup of bitter coffee and emptied it out, handing it off to Zuda. Tell me what you have in mind then, bub. In a matter of hours, both sides began to mingle with one another. Many imperial leaders were opposed to this, but ultimately they allowed the crews to converse with one another. The general passage had Morrowind only fractions of the infantry to talk to the enemy camp in order to oversee anything between the two camps. Morrowind agreed and ready for self-threats. Blame if anything horrible were to happen. By sundown, both imperial and Triton alike started to engage in meals, stories, and even games. Every so often, everyone would glimpse at oversee at their leaders and fought amongst themselves. No one progressed in the shift of power had occurred. Everyone returned to their own business. Medina excluded herself from the gathering and kept her supportive attention on her mother, all while fighting the constant need of falling asleep. To everyone's joy, once dusk had arrived, they found themselves getting along with one another, especially once dinner was served. Both parties enjoyed a foreign food being shared between one another. Midway into the meals, they heard a desperate roar coming from their leaders. Everyone froze in place, staring off in the fighting pit. Some troops and clansmen grabbed a hold of one another, meekly threatening each other with spoons and butter knives. The moon shone bright into that night, delivering a haunting spotlight on the two lions who were heavily drenched in blood and covered in scars. Both lions delivered a devastating blow to each other's gut, leaving them both bent over, breathless and resting on each other's shoulders for support. Sora and Nadja, in their mangled fur and torn clothing, used each other's foreheads to lean on. Nadja, unaware of how scarcely her clothing covered her body, stood down, battered emperor with blackened eyes. Panting, "You got some nerve. Blast this long high point." Nadja weakly ripped off the emperor's nose. "Just die already." Gay sword headed her paw away. "My dear, I'm not parting from this world, not until I get my people back." He slipped his palm onto Nadja's windpipe and tried to grab and choke her out, but Nadja blowed herself through his muscle through his grip. "I've traveled all the way through my kingdom to do that, while draining through my afterlife as well if I must." Nadja shook his paw off with ease. They knocked each other off balance, and each of them now resting on their chins on one another's shoulders. Sigh. "I thought this was an ego trip. You highborns normally enjoy using others for your dirty work. The lords you kneel to might approve of it, but the Valar Empire will never stop to such a desperate way of life." He jabbed at his ribcage. Grunting sword gripped at the back of her hair, pulling her away at an arm's length. He sank his claws into her scalp. "Say and do you what you will of me. The Valar never falter with their tails between their legs." He gripped Nadja's head and both paws, piercing flesh with his talons. "I'll fight until my last breath if I have to, and do whatever I must to make better for my people." Cringing at the pain in Swire's claws, Nadja forced herself under her claws and scooped them up to a tight grip. With her fingers trapped, she yanked and forced both of their arms to their waists. A weak stare-down sparked between their eyes as they started to regain composure. Nadja broke the tension with a soft giggle. "What's so funny? Even when you come off being a serious, you'll date an adorable spoiled brat." Sawyer muscled out a cocky grin. "I'm flattered then." "I failed to notice until now, but that black eye gave you strippings that we were in your eyes." "Huh." Nadja fluttered her eyes, wincing just slightly due to the searing pain and varying toothy grin. She begins to laugh. "Aw, really?" Sora joined Nadja in hearty laughter. They gripped each other hard by the paws and they continued to laugh. At the moment, the friendly laughter grew to a snarling growling as they stuck one another in the headbutt, knocking each other out. A harsh yet pulsated around Nadja's blackened vision. She felt the pain from the fight. She couldn't deny that. She wallowed in the pain, unable to shake off the piercing feeling in her gut. She allowed herself a moment's rest before gritting her teeth, mustering the will to peel open her eyes, stinging her eyes. A flurry of pain and confusion swept over the lioness as the nightly scenery finally hit her. She was alone on the battlefield, flat on her back, never-stained blood-stained metal protruding from her stomach. Nadja was in pain, shocked, unable to believe what she was witnessing. Every fiber of her being seemed screaming for her to get up, shaped with a bitter cry while swilling herself up. She staggered to her feet and right to the hilt of the sword buried deep in her. Her wound bled, but it didn't feel too threatening to keep in. Unable to afford the possibility of bleeding out, she did just that. She held the sword in place, trying to make sense of the scenery before her. A dying sandstorm obscured her vision as she tried to step forward. Searing white pain erupted suddenly from her wound. She could feel its cold metal burning in her pores. She gasped with a hot, dry mouth. "Oh, Tammy Sawyer, what have you done?" She fought through the pain, hobbling toward her throat. A place she cried out, "Sawyer! Zuda, where is everyone?" Nadja ventured further into the howling sandstorm. The stinging sand, burning her eyes, battered her pelt, and she saw relief. It was a stream of water that ran between the wasteland and the forest. A primal surge of energy burst toward the water. She staggered forward in pain. dove face first into the cold water. Nadja didn't care. The cold flow of water rushed over her, dried out, bloody, cold, and nourishing. She pulled herself up and lapped the water running at her muzzle. She drank deeply, not stopping as her lungs for air. She coughed and spluttered, her eyes closed to damning reflection in the water. Nadja was battered and bruised, her hair and fur blackened with pink layers of her own blood. Her complexion was deprived altogether. When she opened it, she saw that beaten lioness in the water. She couldn't believe the ghastly figure and reflection was her, but the vision worked and as she looked on. She was struck by a haunting revelation. Once her vision was fully recovered, the water was tainted red. She sprang to her feet, paralyzed with fear at how gruesome the stream pool was. She drew her attention to the upstream source. Curiosity bested the line as she stumbled her way up the stream to find a pool to happen. The sandstorm made it impossible, though. She gained enough to pick up the flaming field of view. The gut-wrenching pain washed over her sort of place. She seeped the wound and tried to pour blood now to her. She fell through the sandstorm as Nadja caught the sight of something in the distance. As it flew wildly toward her, she caught the bunch of whirlwinds. It was her banner. It was burnt orange pattern and soaking lost in the raging sandstorm. With the banner gone, her attention was found at something she hadn't noticed before. Something that shivers down her spine. Zuda! The boat's white wolf lay face down the opposite side of the shore, blood pouring from her, seeping into the stream. Nadja powered her way through the strong current and stream as she came to Zuda's side. He pulled him onto his back. His expression was hollow and bright with life. His entire chin from the neck down was drenched in his own blood. A harsh cough erupted from him, and he jostled awake. His hazy eyes peered up to his cheek and blind eyes she'd never forget. Blood spewed from his mouth. Nadja held onto his paw while coaxing his head and biting pets in her forward paw. Zuda, stay with me. Stay with me. Her eyes tongue with tears. She held her beloved companion tightly. Zuda, what happened? Zuda opened his maw, ready to speak, but coughed out a single harsh word, spent with blood and muttering a single word. Plan, the pendant girl as we hoped. They. The fallen wolf once was an agonizing. He whimpered as his folded ears bent his attention directed towards Nadja's gut. I tried to stop him. He left his paw, hovered timidly over the sword hilt. I failed you, Nadja. I failed all of us. Nadja looked at where his shaking paw was headed and found herself traumatized at it. It was his sword that had impaled her. Her petrified eyes shot up to meet his devastated gaze. I'm sorry. Nadja shook her head feverishly, trying to best comfort her best friend. No, don't be. You followed your strengths. I'm proud of you. Zuda whimpered, his blood ran down his eyes. Overcoming his tears as they joined the river, his eyes stripped off aimlessly toward the beating pool behind him. I couldn't protect her. He whimpered with harsh, shallow breaths before succumbing to the pain. Gasped his last breath before slipping, finally falling lifeless. Nadja gripped the paw tightly before pulling herself away for fear of breaking it. Her heart sank into the pitch-black void after witnessing the life of her most trusted companion leave right before her eyes. She rested her head, holding his paw one last time, placing it to her chest before resting it back down. This wasn't supposed to happen. The distraught lioness roared to the heavens in mournful cries. She couldn't find the will to stand. The agony of such loss sank further into her despair. She had lost her friends, finally to this war. She had just witnessed her best friend die in her arms. A mental block pulled her from her darkened mind. She emerged from mournful stupor that trapped her. Pain of confusion, everything made her afraid that one thing left in her life, Regina. Zuda said he failed to protect her. As an instant, Nadja's motherly instinct drove her to her feet. Not even the sword could hold her back as she sprang to find her daughter. She prowled towards the direction Zuda was eyeing before he fell silent. It was leading right back toward the Empire. The was held up. Her mother's fury fueled Nadja. Everything was said and done with the Empire. She had expected better from them, and they know their honor arrangement. She didn't care anymore, though. She could rip through everyone that came between her and her daughter. The sandstorm began to die down as she made her way through the green fields of the dying forest. She screamed out a mighty roar to break through the dying storm, but the Empire noticed she was coming. Salt! She finally made it to the forest tree line. The sandstorm had ended there, and the icy storm nudging that was a fiery inferno before her. The forest caught on fire. The cries of war echoed throughout the burning forest. As you could see where it was coming from. The forest became a nesting ground for smoke and ash until finally spotted something charging at her. Ironclad horse with black fur charging right at her above the roaring flames. The knight over top the noble night journey. Nadia begrudgingly held no time for him. She'd kill him just the same as he scattered in fury. As the horse drew near, Nadia sidestepped out of the way, looked at disbelief on her face. Fire danced all across the back of the horse. The silver knight set ablaze and headless. Knowledge inspector Jeremy's head was sharp, so Nadia petrified and all. How could one have happened? How could this have happened, she thought. She gave her men specific instructions directed towards the Empire, just in case the worst would have happened to her. This wasn't how she wanted. Her people wouldn't go against her word. Peddle and create havoc like this. Did the Empire provoke them to these extremes? 1,000 questions poured into her mind, unable to make sense of any of them. Suddenly the ground shook beneath her as a thunderous battle cry erupted from behind her. A small hunting party of knights burst through the blazing forest on horseback. Nadia staggered back through the pain of her wound as she stuttered to a ready position, but they paid her no mind. The group charging forward with savagery, howling as they chased a headless knight. It was like a sport. Nadia spotted something in the night, something that made her blood run cold. In the back of the group rode a banner man who bore the crest of a crown of thorn and chains on his cape, the sigil of her allies, the Bloodcut Kingdom. Her mind began to delve deeper into the pit of dread power they found. Nobody outside her clan should have known about this encounter. Fiery inferno burst deep within the forest, followed by a harmony of agonizing cries. Her eyes glimmered towards the explosion, and an instinctual urge of curiosity compelled her feet to walk forward towards the danger. Nadia grit her teeth and walked through the pain, going deeper into the inferno. A whirlwind of fire and ash pushed her back, scalding her as she preserved the fruit of the rough. She didn't even know what happened. She needed to find Solaire. She needed to find her daughter. What was once the lush forest was now a burning wasteland of ash and kindling. The heat given from the surrounding area was stung Nadia's eyes to the brink of tears. Her body became dry and dehydrated, but she couldn't stop. Not until she found her answer to what happened. The ash became thicker and hotter as she prowled forward. The blinding heat wafted over her, and she struggled to stagger back and fall. Something tripped her. She flailed to her side, running at the punching pain and distorting. The other pain subsided, after witnessing a truly painful sight before her. Beneath her paws lay what looked like a fallen scar and wool. Her vibrant blue war paint and fur was burnt to a crisp. Only patches of blood-soaked fur remaining in the crushed body. Nadia's heart plunged into the pit of her stomach. She pounced beside her fallen tribesman, hoisting her head up and cupping the lifeless hand. No, no, no. Her words shuddered out of raspy tone as she kneeled over the wolf girl's body, desperately trying to pulse all cradling their head. Nothing. She was too dead. She was dead. Nadia's eyes flared up with what would have been shed tears became a bloodshot glare, filled with remorse and a fiery rage. I didn't want this. You were supposed to. She choked up with that miasma smoke. Her head began to drown in a wave of emotions. All she could do was grip onto her follower's paw. A distant outburst, screaming, roaring, swept across the blazing valley. Another fiery explosion breathed through the smoke. Sight heightened within it. Pure carnage annihilated the once lush forest into a shallow grave of corpses and ash. Screams of burnt blood paved the ground for the lioness to follow. Ensuing the battle, she stammered prompting the display of the battlefield. Just Farns and Imperials alike waited across the field unceremoniously. The noble knights were sprawled everywhere, missing their limbs and hung from trees. Nadia couldn't bear to look at her people. The smell of their blood, cold blood, was enough to make her queasy. but it was stench from a fear that made her nauseous. Her people thrived for combat, but for the glorious battle it be in their names. There is no honor in this, nothing to be proud of. This was a massacre. She desperately tried to close her mind to it all, shutting herself off the pain and turmoil surrounding her. What she needed most of all was answers. She staggered forward through a small group of knights standing on top of a hill. She went silently toward them. As she got closer, she recognized the faces, becoming visibly ill as she took in their faces. General Khan. Nadia gawked in disbelief. What was he doing here? Where did he get here? When was he behind this attack? Many more questions surged through her mind as she hobbled up the hill. The grizzly general oversaw his men ransacking the imperial tent. He brandished an imperial cane over his shoulder as well, and cries accompanying an archer called for his attention, caught sight of the wounded lioness clinging to her leg. Arm stole a glance toward her. He looked back on the ground with a grimace on his face. Shit. Anarchist slung an arrow, pulling the cord back, but Crumb held up a claw to hold him. Nadia finally reached the top and couldn't muster a will to stand straight. She knelt in pain from the sword wound, grasping at the hilt to her parted friend's sword. She took up the grizzly and arm with a venomous glare. What happened here? Reynolds didn't respond. Karn, answer me. Nadia hobbled to Karn and pulled him by the shoulder. She was abruptly met with a slap by his backhand, force knocking her wound, causing her to rupture with blistering pain. She missed his opponent, her eyes exploded. Karn finally looked down at her with a scowl on his face, aside from a bloody scratch on his muzzle. She looked impeccable, as though he didn't break a sweat in the fight. None of the soldiers bore wounds when she finally battled, but with him. There was steel. He gazed down at Nadia and huffed. What happened here? What happened? He went down and disgusted glare at her. You went behind her back, so that's what happened. Fear bled into Nadia's already oblivious mind. She wasn't going for this. No, that's not. Herm held up his head high with a distasteful look. Did you see the bodies on your way here? All the men and women that followed your absent-minded greed are dead because of you? Or because you went and came up with an idea for yourself? Nadia growled viciously toward Karn and lost her focus as she began to cough up blood. A nearby field medic caught sight of the wounded lioness and ran over to aid her, but Karn held his arm to deny her the help. Don't bother with us when death should be drawing near. Nadia managed to rest on her knees, spitefully hanging down the sword and hilt embraced in her gut, embedded in her gut. We did everything you wanted, Karn. We gave you everything you could have ever imagined for your war. General took aim with his new cane and bashed it at her across her muzzle. He went behind her back. He jabbed the end of the cane near her cheek and held a toxic glare peeling up at her. You knew well what the whereabouts of your enemies, and what did you do? Ignore your allies for what? For the honor of it all? For the glory? Your better judgment? He raised the cane over her head and snapped it, slammed it against her shoulder, and forced caused it to snap on impact. Look what happens when you go around having ideas. He tossed the cane away and started toward the wounded lioness. Chest Karn's always filled with ideas, so grander. Ideas of honor and all that nonsense. Is this what you had in mind when you left us in the dark? Nadia stared at the ground, her eyes darting frantically to make sense of it all. No, swear, promise. Promise you what? That your people will go home free, that he'll honor your deal? He bent down in front of her and gripped her under the chin brace, forcing her to look up at him. Did you really expect him to keep his word? At the second he fell, his men turned to your clan in a heartbeat. But given the time my parents arrived, half your people were slaughtered. He shoved her face away as he stood tall, fragile lioness. I should order your execution here and now because of your desertion. But I think running on the field of night versus punishment enough. Nadia felt an unworldly chill run down her back. The absence of life within her child chilled her heart and soul. This wasn't right. None of this was right. Her child was stronger than this. Karn turned his back and on her and gazed down and east from side to him. Though I guess it's a proper name, he was stolen. By the time we reached your men, the Imperials didn't have enough time to respond to our cavalry, and he did save us the trouble of wearing them down. Down toward a desolate few. The caravan floor kept nights paraded around. Scattered pile of Imperial rice, save for one remaining Imperial. Solaire. Nalji's soul rage, insulted, weak her body, her captain said of the once proud emperor, reduced to a living carcass. His body was withered and torn, his fur drenched in blood, and his face scratched with agony and for every exhausted breath he took. Yet he still fought on, swinging his broadsword and edged his way at the taunt knights. The knights circled around him. Taking turns to dash at him, some would kick at him, throw one over at him, and some would just trample their horses over him. Every time they approached him, he would feebly swing his sword in defiance. Nudge's mind was petrified at the ghastly sight. He didn't even realize she was back on her paws, drifting steps towards the fallen lion. Even her steps burned. This was a horrendous act towards her foe. They were playing with him, dangling death over him as if it were teething cub with sweets. Highborn or not, Solaire was proven himself a better man than all the cowards that he fought against her. He did not deserve this cruel and humiliating man. Her paws began to tread toward down the hill. The howling marauders, her legs became heavier with every step she took. All the matter of strength fled out of her, but no matter the cost, she cradled whatever will she had left and kept going. The knights swerved impatiently around the emperor. Solaire swung his sword feebly at the knight who spat on him, and finally he met Nudge's eyes from afar. An abysmal look from his once statured face. His mane was in shambles, and once his muzzle covered his eyes. Nudge's heart stirred at the haunting vision of this man. He still blazed out of pride to the valley that once held. She would have taken pride in taking his head, but now he was deserved a merciful death. She crossed the field toward him, just enough to reach shouting distance. Any attempts to cry out to him were just muffled by the stampede of knights on horseback, cutting her off. The lifeless board as an Imperial knights dragging behind her. Okay guys, so it's pretty late my time, so I think that's where I'm going to cut off. Thank you for watching. I do hope to continue this game, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching me play it. And for now, that'll basically be the end of it. See you guys next time for episode 2 of this game. I gotta say, the game is well made, and there's a lot of interesting stuff in it. It took a turn I didn't expect towards the end, with the whole thing with Solaire's life being threatened. So, with that said, goodbye, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your night, or day, depending on where you are. And after all that, hope you guys do enjoy.